VALTORIOUS, the Awoken here. Boys and girls. Oh my god. I didn't even know what I was going to do today, to be honest. I was just like, I know I got to put out something. And I was like, you know what? I was supposed to do a list. Well, actually, no, I did a list before, but the list got fucked up. So I figured, I said, well, I can actually try to do the list again. So I was like, you know what? Fuck it. Let's try to do like a vampire list. Like the most powerful vampire tier list, I should say. Because I did like plenty of videos, like, you know, powerful vampires, who is like the strongest vampire and stuff. Like, you know, I got that out there. So if you like, you can go check those videos out. I got. But, you know, this is like a tier list for like well, not all of the vampires, I should say, like some of them, because there's a whole bunch of them, and some of them are okay, some of them are pretty overpowered and stuff, and some of them didn't even reach the list. You know, it wasn't my fault, but some of them just didn't reach the list because I haven't seen some of the animes, or if I did, I completely forgot about them. So we're gonna start off with the Sacred Ancestor from Vampire Hunter D. Now, if anybody who's seen my videos about this man, it's just like, he's ridiculous. Like, he's beyond comprehension. It's like, who in their right mind is gonna come up to this man and just say what to him? Like, who? You know, the man has been around for millions of years, possibly billions of years, possibly from a different reality. Like, he's been around for a hot minute. You know, he did a lot. That's how I'm gonna put it. Like, he did a lot. Y'all have to read the novels, manga. Y'all have to read the shit, because that man, he did a lot and stuff. And on top of that, like, he's okay. Alright, I can say a little bit. Like, basically, he fought what was it? I think he fought thousands of vampires, right? Lifted up a whole island. And after when he did all that crazy ass carnage and destruction, he went to sleep for, I believe it was, what, half a century? Or a whole century? I forgot what it was, but it was broken. So I said, you know what? I put him on the God list. So he's on God tier, right? And then, obviously, the second man I have to put on that list would be Vampire Hunter D himself. Because it's just like, well, you know, Sacred Ancestor created him. You know, created? Okay, more like he fell in love with a woman, and then they did their business together, and then D was born, and then some other things happened. But besides that point, you know, D, you know, he's basically, you know, half human, half vampire. Also been around for, I believe it was 10,000 years. I think it was 10,000 years he was around for, right? He has a very overpowered true form, and he can't be erased from the Akashic records. So he can't be erased from reality itself. And obviously, you know, he has I think his left hand where he's able to like suck up souls and stuff. And I'm I'm just saying, like, the man, he did a lot. Like, this man, like, what was it? What else he did? I think he survived the meteor. Yeah. He goes on the God tier list. I'm sorry. This man goes on the God tier list. Like, you gotta read the novels and the manga to understand how broken this man is and stuff. The man was fighting gods. He's fighting for very stronger vampires, and you gotta read the doggone mangas and the novels. I'm sorry. Like, the man is just too overpowered. All right, let me see. Let me see who else is on this list. Hold up, give me a sec, cause this is just crazy. Ceres from Hellsing. Ceres, she's an A+, I would say, because at a time she wasn't trying to, like, you know, drink blood and do all this other stuff, and Alucard was getting a little bit annoyed at her because he was like, listen, man, I brought you into this. Like, you supposed to be drinking blood. Like, I could, if I did it, you have to do it. And two, when the guy that she like, he died and stuff, and that's when she just, you know, drunk his blood, and then that's when she awakened, like, she fully awakened, like, her power and stuff, and she just went off. Everybody knows that Ceres is the original waifu before anybody at this point, because she did a lot. Like, when she got her power, she did a lot. You know, so she goes on like the A+, like an A+ tier. Like, she's solid. She's pretty solid. All right, let's see who we got. Oh, we cannot have a list without the man himself, Mr. Dio Zawoken. Like, you can't have a top tier list without that overpowered man. So we all know his story, you know, basically. Going after the Jonathans, I said, going after the Joestars, right? And then his famous, you know, Zawoldu stopping time and terrorizing the Joestar family for centuries and stuff, and pretty good stuff. And like I said before, his ability to stop time, and he's able to like be able to kind of, well, is able to keep up with Jotaro. Yeah, he's able to keep up with Jotaro and stuff. So obviously the man goes on like an A+, because it's come on, it's Dio. Like, come on, it's Dio. He goes on like the A+ tier. Then you have Alucard from Hellsing, right? So everybody likes talking about this man, you know, because I was tempted to put this man like on A+, like really put him on A+, because I understand like a lot of people don't really know too much about like the older vampires and a lot of like the old stuff that happened like way before Hellsing. I get it. And then when they've seen Hellsing's Ultimate, and it was like, oh my god, like Alucard is the most powerful vampire ever, which he is. It's true, he is. But there's like 2, maybe 3, maybe more other vampires that outclass him, and that's saying something. That's saying a lot. Like I said, and there's 2 of them. Like I said, Vampire Hunter D, Sacred Ancestor, Dracula. Like, they outclass him. Like, I'm sorry, they outclass him. But I'm not saying that he's trash, he's weak, or any of that stuff. I never say anything about that. But it's just that when you've seen Hellsing's Ultimate, and how, you know, when he's activated, I believe it was level 0. And that's when he became like, you know, Dracula, and he summoned like a whole million armies just to fight these peoples and stuff. And then he was going to do that thing with Walter, where he was absorbing all of the blood, everybody who died, like all the blood in London, and he was going to do something crazy. And I'm like, yeah. And then on top of that, when he came back, he has the power to be everywhere and truly nowhere. And then he was destroying millions of copies of that self thing, like, well, of you know, he destroyed millions of copies of those things and shit. But he came back, and it's like he got in this new power where he only kept like the one soul, where he could be everywhere and truly nowhere. So it's like he's almost, I believe what they called it, like omniscient or omnipresent. I think it's one of the 2. I think it's omniscience, where I think you be everywhere and truly nowhere. So he goes on the god tier list because of the things that he can do, and possibly the things he could have done after. But it was the things that we saw that's like, yeah, obviously he's god tier, right? Let's see here. Skune. Okay, if anybody remembers Rosary, that anime. Now, I understand like the anime came out, I think 2011. They didn't really do too much. Did they? No. Cause some of the stuff was skipped, actually. Like, they was kind of like rushing and doing all this other stuff. Like, I understand it was like it was different back then what they was doing. And then also it never got renewed and stuff. But the manga told a whole different story, and it was much more. Where basically Skune became a vampire god, in a sense, because I believe there was a ritual between him and Mocha, and they had to defeat, I think, either this powerful monster or vampire type creature, and they became, I think, the Shizuno, or he had part blood of the Shizuno or something. But I know, from what I remember in the manga, there was like some sort of ritual that they had and stuff, because Skune was originally human, but every time he kept getting Mocha's blood over and over and over again, and then he had gotten access to like this ancient power, legendary power, I should say. And then, yeah, he became very, very overpowered. But I don't remember. I remember some like bits and pieces of how powerful he was. But he will be like an A+, I would say. Like he's an A+, you know, very solid, very solid. Let me see what we got on here. Oh, now this was this character, Vanilla Ice. If anybody remembers from like Stardust Crusader, where he had like this power where he can erase himself, but it almost looked like he was in this black hole type ball thing, and he killed Avdo. I think Avdo. Yeah, he killed him. And the only thing that was left was his arms and stuff. Sure. And I mean, he was alright. Like, he didn't really have like a very impactful thing besides the death that he committed and stuff, or caused. I mean, he was alright. I mean, I know some people liked him, and I kind of liked him too because I wanted more from him. But you know, he died, so I mean, it was. I mean, there's not really much you can go on with him. So he's a B. He's a solid B. Now we got Marvel's Dracula. So Marvel's Dracula, I've been putting this man underneath the bus for so long because I'm like, yeah, he did some incredible things, some interesting things in the Marvel comics, but the only best thing I can remember that was really good for him at the time was when he defeated Apocalypse. Vanilla version of Apocalypse that he defeated him. And then after that, he was just getting his ass kicked, and then he tried to seduce, I shouldn't say seduce, but he tried to put hands on Dr. Doom, and Dr. Doom have shards, I should say, of the True Cross within his armor, and you know, Dracula, he couldn't do anything, so he was just like, yo, I'll get you, Doom, I'll get you. Doom just like, get off of Liberia or else. This is your last warning. I don't know. I mean, there's not really much to go on with the man unless he got something new in the comics right now or he's doing something. I mean, I don't know. Oh yeah, Wolverine did become a vampire at that time. But I mean, nah. He's a D. He's a D. I'm sorry, that man's a D. Unless he did something, like I said, if he did something crazy, something different, but nah, that man gets a D. I'm sorry. Now here's a good one. Now the fake Grand Order Dracula, I mean, he did he did some things, but I'll say it was more memorable when he had like the transformation and he lost his mind and he was just draining people's blood and doing all. You know what? I kind of liked him. I actually kind of liked his character and stuff. He was solid to me. He's definitely a B. He's definitely a B because I liked his character. It was pretty solid for me. Oh boy, the next person that's on this list is Alucard from Lords of Shadows. So everybody knows that I absolutely love like the Lords of Shadows Castlevania, like Dracula. Like, I just love it. Like the whole Gabriel Belmont becoming Dracula. The fact is that the Brotherhood of Order knew eventually he was going to become Dracula. You know, Zobek basically having him wear the devil mask and him killing his wife, and then him defeating Lucifer, and then him going into the Forgotten One's realm, and then him becoming Dracula, him becoming overpowered and ruling for centuries. You know how much I love the fuck out of like Lords of Shadows, and you know I wish there was a part 3. You know I wish there was a part 3, and how overpowered this man was, and yo, oh my god, man, you know how I love that shit. It's an A+ for me. Solid A+. I was gonna say maybe God tier because, you know, him surviving the whole nuke and, you know, him being immortal and all this other crazy shit, but I feel like he's a strong A. I feel like he's a strong A+ for me. Like, it's not bad though. That, like, him being an A+, it's not bad. It's not bad. Let me see what else is on this list. Okay, then we have the original Dracula from Castlevania. I like him too because you know, same thing with the whole, you know, Lisa and this and that, burnt on the cross, and then him getting pissed off and raging hell up against everybody and shit. And then we all know that this man's power, the power of chaos, the whole universe thing, and well, we don't even need to go into what else he was doing. Oh, and on top of that, you know, constantly keeps being brought back because everybody loves this man so much. Like, he can't stay away for too long. Even if he's gone for like a century or whatever, some fool gonna be like, I miss Dracula, he needs to come back. He gets brought back and then somebody kills him again. I love Dracula, don't take my man away from me. Then they're like, alright, I got you, bring him back again. But yeah, and he's pretty overpowered in his way too and stuff, because it was just like you needed Belmonts plus other family members to take this man out, any ordinary hunter would have died. Well, I'm sorry, other hunters did die. They tried to kill this man and it failed. So that man he's on the god tiers list because it was just like of his immense power. His shit was all over the place. And on top of that, I have made videos about that man, and in a whole versus video that I did actually about a month now. So y'all can go check that out. So he's got a tier. What else we got? What else do we got? Let me see here. That's not everybody. Oh, no. So we have Ra from Noblesse. So this man, oh my god, this man. So when the anime came out, when I finished reading the manga, all of that was good. And the fact is that the man, he's able to like put people like in his blood field type thing, and he's able to erase people from existence. Now the only caveat about him, he would have been like a god tier thing, but he isn't, because he can still die. And on top of that, he had to get treatment from his friend, because if he didn't get the treatment from his friend, the wolf I should say, he would have died. And on top of that, it seems like his power, like he couldn't handle like the power that he was given, and it was kind of like killing him. Every time like he uses it, like he would like get closer and closer to death, But and then he fought like his old clan's people that he had at the time. He fought against like other very powerful modified humans, I should say, very overpowered modified humans that was taking like both in that manga and anime, they didn't really classify themselves as vampires, even though they was called vampires. But for this, we will say that they are vampires and stuff, because you have wolves and then you have them. So I was just like, it would make sense that they are vampires. So and on top of that, like Ra was basically overpowered. Like he went toe to toe with freaking like the queen. He went toe to toe with her and stuff. But then she saw how immense his power was and was just like, well, shit. She literally lost. She lost. So A+ for him. A+ for him. Like she literally lost. Next person we have on this list is the Netflix version of Dracula. Okay, so some people was kind of pissed, just like a tad bit pissed as to why half of the powers and abilities that was in the original Castlevania's Dracula you didn't see in the Netflix. You only seen like a glimpse of it, but you didn't see all of it. And the first season, when they killed Lisa, and he was just like, all right, it's gonna take me a year to summon like Hell's Army and just murder everybody and stuff. Now that was crazy. That was completely crazy. But I felt like we should have seen more from him, to be honest, because I was like down for that. I'm like, okay, what are we gonna see from this man? We didn't see that much from him, and despite the stuff that happened in season 1 and season 2, we've seen plenty. And I'm like, he's not bad though. He's not bad, but he is an A. He gets an A. He gets an A. No, not bad. He gets an A. Now, the last person that's on this list is Shoutier from Overlord. Now, this woman, she fought up against Einzelgun, right? Fought up against him, and she took almost everything. When she had her little clone she was using, her flame she was using, and he did I believe this dimensional slash on her. I think she survived that, right? Very, very overpowered stuff. And then on top of that, she has different spells. She can I wouldn't say stop time, but she can move through time. I guess everything is kind of slowed down, but she's moving fast in time. So almost she can technically do something what Dio can do, but she can move through time instead of him stopping time. And then on top of that, she has this ability where she can implode people. So she's just okay, well, it's on weaker people and stuff. As anybody who's a high tier or stronger, they'll be able to survive the implosion, so she can basically look at somebody or do whatever and they just explode and shit, blow up into like million pieces of juices. So she has that, and then she has like a bunch of other magic abilities, and she has like her true form where it's almost like a berserker form, and she just goes around draining people's bloods and all this other stuff. And yeah, and she has, I believe, like sacred gear, I think, like sacred gear or sacred armor, and with like other like weapons that she has. So she's pretty much a tank at this point. She's pretty much a tank. Yeah, and I would say for her, she's a solid A plus. She's a solid A plus. I don't really see anything wrong with that. No, I don't see anything wrong with that. Like, she's literally like an A plus. But yeah. Like, this was my little bit of a list that I have now. I do know there are some other animes and that's out there that has like overpowered vampires, or some that are somewhat alright and stuff. But let me know what you think about this list. Like, do you think this list was ass? Do you think that there should have been more to the list? Like, let me know. But yeah, if you like what you heard you like, please subscribe, share, do all that wonderful stuff, and I catch you later.
It's murder, go crazy, berserker. I killed it, 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 it's murder, go